Hello, everyone. This is Father Robert Ard, as you know, and I am here to introduce a new clergy person to our staff. Last year, Father Gary Butterworth retired, and he lives up in Hendersonville, and he is looking for a place to exercise his gifts in what I would call not quite retirement, post-retirement. So Gary and I have been talking for the last few months about what that might look like. And given that he's coming in kind of towards the end of this, the COVID virus epidemic, we're going to kind of be figuring this out a little bit as we go along, but with some kind of general broad strokes of what we would like kind of his work here at Holy Cross to be. Now, obviously, Gary's going to be doing some preaching and some presiding and teaching some classes and stuff like that, and you'll see him around most Sundays. But he's also very gifted and very, very practiced at working with process in groups and how to work not only through kind of communications issues, but also how to get to kind of the place that we want to go to and where we want to be through good process. And Gary and I have been talking about this stuff probably off and on, probably about 3 or 4 years now. and so I've always kind of had in the back of my mind, boy, wouldn't it be cool if we could maybe work with Gary and utilize some of his gifts, let him shine, help us, and all of that stuff together. So, with no further ado, Gary, why don't you come up?
Okay.
And I just want you to just say hello to all of them. And what I also want you to do is just kind of maybe give them a little bit of history of kind of where you're coming from and where you've been, especially over the last 10 years or so.
Okay, great. Well, it's wonderful to be here, and thank you to Robert and for Molly and to all of you that will welcome me. It's an exciting time to be retired, but also not ready to be retired, sort of like what Molly's doing, and for Robert to give me the opportunity to be here. Recently, I was the interim at Grace in Asheville for about 2 years. Before that, I spent about 7 years at All Saints Gastonia, and claim to fame, if you will, during that time at Gastonia was I also chaired the search committee that brought Bishop Jose here. And that also led to something I do in my off time as well, as I'm an Episcopal search consultant for the national church. And right now I'm working with the Diocese of West Virginia as they look for their new bishop. So I've got a number of little things in the fire, things I like to do, and so yeah, that's sort of me.
Well, Gary, one of the things that I would like you to speak to also, which I think is really important because we do have a fair number of military people at this church, is I want you to talk a little bit about how your military career informed and it continues to inform your priestly ministry in the Episcopal Church, because I think it's what gives you kind of a special service to the Episcopal Church in your ability to ferret out complicated issues with big structures.
Right, okay, no, thank you. And I do tend to forget that once in a while when I'm talking to people, but I spent 31 years of active service in the Navy, going from little seaman recruit all the way up to full commander through a special program. And in that time, as you can imagine, I've been around the world about 5 times, so I've seen lots of cultural and contextual things. And I've also been in the institutions of the Navy that bring diverse numbers of people, money, regulations, policies, guidelines together. And I just sort of migrated to really working with those processes and coming to understand them. And I think being able to understand those complicated processes and bringing them into an institution like the church, one of the stories I like to tell is it takes about 2.5 miles to stop an aircraft carrier going 35 knots. And so I say that because change in the church is slow. Change in the church is upsetting. Just last week we had Jesus overturning the carts and the money changers in the temple, and I think that we are engaging in a time where some tables and some carts are probably going to need to be turned over because the pandemic has changed the way the church interacts with culture. And I think it's a great opportunity. I don't look at it as a negative thing. I look at it as a positive, exciting thing.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you, Gary.
Sure.
You know, when we are all back together here, and certainly Father Gary's going to be with us some of these weeks and months leading up to us being fully together. But if you see him on a Sunday morning, introduce yourself to him. I know he's going to be introducing himself to all of you. And so what I would say is give him a warm welcome and make him feel as though he's part of Team Holy Cross. We're excited to have him. I know I am. I know Molly is. And I know that when you get to meet him, you'll be thankful that he's here working for us, helping us at Holy Cross figure out how to be the people that God is calling us to be. All right. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.